Within each and every role player lives this homeless character who wants nothing more than to quiet the heartbeat of every living thing that stands in his way. Today we celebrate this all too familiar character with...
Well now, looky here. It's the Murder Hobo Show.
Let's get after it. What's going on there, Jay? Welcome to the Murder Hobo RPG Show, episode 42, aptly entitled Fucking Ennies. Recorded August 18th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Gary, a.k.a. the Murder Hobo, and I'm here with Uncle J-Raz, a.k.a. Crapton Colin, better known as the Cannabis King, the Pacific Northwest Peace Pipe, or his hippie name, Yo Dude.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this cannabis stuff is.
It's a bus made out of aluminum cans.
I don't know. It's a myth.
Hey,
I don't know what you're talking about.
On a scale of 1 to high, how high are you?
I'm usually about high.
You're what?
Yeah, usually on a scale of 1 to high. I'm usually like, if I'm 1, I'm not 1, so I'm usually about high.
Wow. I got to go scoot over and check out the Twitch stream just to make sure that stuff is happening properly over there. 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 Stuff is happening properly.
All right.
Seriously,
I don't know what you just did there.
I had to mute that.
But yeah, there was some sort of, I was in a time loop, and then I thought I was going to have an aneurysm.
Hold on a sec. I need to see how you sound. So say a thing.
I will say a thing. I will say a thing. I will say a thing.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, I'll shut that down. It sounds like we're not stepping over one another here, so it is what it is. Goddamn audio, man. It drives me fucking mental. Screw you, Lamoureux. Where was I at here? Uncle J-Raz introduces himself. What's going on, my main man, my hot dude, my sexy going to the gym fella?
Oh, not a whole lot there. My crazy concrete truck driving, load pouring, getting up at 5 a.m. Actually, early at 3 a.m. Getting it done. The pickle prince of British Columbia. How's it going?
Simmer down. Just because I told you the horror story about pickling my pickles.
All right. Actually, I'm going to call you the pickle paladin. That's what I'm going to call you.
Is that what I am? I'm the green gherkin.
The pickle paladin.
Isn't there a movie called The Green Knight? I'm the green gherkin?
Yep. That's what, I saw The Green Knight. Had nothing to do with pickles, though.
No, my green knight's a pickle. It's a small gherkin. It's lumpy and green and friggin' tiny and... where were we at? Oh yeah, so this is a podcast about role-playing games because we like them all. And as usual, we're going to bullshit our way through this episode in an attempt to sound like we know what we're talking about. And suck it, John Marlin.
Yeah, it's standard now. Just so we pretty much have to say it for legal reasons now. So suck it, John Marlin. And just so you know, we are an RPG entertainment podcast, and although you might occasionally be able to glimpse a nugget of truth or inspiration from our many years of gaming experience, we promise it will be unintentional. Also, please note that we stream this podcast live on Twitch and convert it to podcast format. You can check us out every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, unless something happens, and then it'll be another time, and you'll just have to deal with it.
Jay, you read that quite eloquently, I gotta say.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You should get high more often, maybe.
All right. Yeah.
On tonight's show, we're going to be talking about random stuff that we like. There's some things happening in the RPG community that we're going to get after, like the new Superpowers Companion coming out and a new crowdfunding site from Pinnacle. We'll talk about that for half a second. Different GM style clashes, and we're going to answer some community questions, talk a little bit about ICRPG Master Edition that's coming out. And then we're going to hit up the fucking Ennies.
Well, also, I was going to ask you about Viking Death Squad since I figured you knew so much about it.
No, don't know anything.
You don't know it. You don't know anything about it. All right, damn it.
No,
I don't want to put you on the spot like that. I thought, well, you do mention the ICRPG Master Edition, and it is being put out by Modifius.
No, so in conjunction with
with Viking Death Squad. Maybe we should do a research on the Viking Death Squad and talk about that.
Well,
Because it's intriguing, to some degree, but I don't want to derail the whole show just talking about this shit we don't know anything about.
well, that's what we do all the time. That's every show.
That's true. That's true. That's what we ought to do. Just our next episode is going to be Viking Death Squad, and just be like, "Oh, what do you think it's about, Gary? Hey, did you ever watch the show Vikings? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was
Hey,
a
did
show
you play
called-
Hellfrost? Yeah, that was all right.
What about Suicide Squad? It's got to be
No,
a
that
mix
was a
of those,
great
right?
movie. Yeah, that's exactly where we'd go with that.
Ay, that's too funny. I gotta smash a button over here. We're gonna get on with the show. I think I got
Sounds
it
good.
all set up, Jay. I'm pretty sure. Ah, the end always makes me pucker, makes me my butt pucker. So
So you're just getting relaxed. You're just getting relaxed and ready for the show, and sometimes it squeaks out.
sometimes, so yeah, hey, we got some sad news we got to discuss here, Jay. We're sorry to hear that Dustin Smith drowned war didn't fun, buddy. It's pretty damn sad.
It is sad. I threw some money at it, and sad too, and I'm sure I think you did. Just one of those things too, where it was right. I think it got kind of close, but I think just but yet still just a little too far to make it. But here's the thing though, if you're following this, he's not out or anything like that. He's actually looking to do something down the road with it or whatever. So we're not going to count old our buddy Dustin Smith out.
No,
we're like that.
We're going to toss some money at him again, and hopefully this thing, when it gets off the ground or whatever he figures out he's going to do with it, is still going to receive some of my hard-earned cash from working the nights, the corner streets at night.
Right. Yep.
That's where I
Selling
get my
horrible ass.
horrible.
That's all right though.
What?
This is. I've seen your Yelp reviews. That's all I'm saying.
You need top quality bareback. Let me tell you,
right.
I'm a bear in the community.
Not according to this one user I was looking at. Said a little chatty for their liking.
Oh, he didn't like my commentary, the play-by-play.
I guess not.
Wow.
I guess not, man. But you can't please everybody.
Right?
Everybody's a critic.
That's exactly the way I feel about this show. We can't please anybody, so we don't please anyone.
Yeah, we don't please. That's exactly right. We're just putting it out there. You can listen to it, enjoy it or not. That's about where we stand.
So yeah, Drowned War sucks. Not happy about that. But he's looking at doing some different kind of crowdfunding, maybe throwing up a Patreon or something like that. Yeah,
I'd throw him some Patreon. I definitely would throw him some Patreon money. In fact, since I really don't fund anybody anymore, I try to every once in a while try to throw Vase some money, and but since I pretty much bought Lamoureux's house, being a patron for some odd years with the Wild Die, I don't have anything to just randomly throw money at anymore. So I need to look for something to fund Patreon wise. So.
Well, I'm going to start a Patreon, I think, and you can just throw money at me, and I'll send you nudies.
All right. Well, there you go. But then again, I can just get those for free because we share a Google Drive folder,
fair
and
enough.
I know where you hide stuff.
Fair enough. Speaking of the Drowned War Kickstarter, let's not forget to mention that our buddy J.C. Thompson, Stingers and Spores. Now this is kind of a funny thing because when we had him on the show, or in chatting with him, we were talking about whether or not his was going to coincide with any other releases, and he was going to release September 1st, but I think they've changed the date. Didn't they move it back a week now? So it should be coming out this week, next week.
I think so. I think it's going to come out next week.
Yeah, because the surprise, speaking of Stingers and Spores and stuff coming out, it turns out that the Superpowers Companion is going to be coming out there, Jay.
Yep, for Savage Worlds. And brother, let me tell you, man, it's been a long time coming. It's been nigh upon about going on 3 years since the release of Adventure Edition, and this is the first companion to see the light of day out of that. So, and me being a self-proclaimed supers guy anyway, I'm really excited about this to come out, and especially this being the first one. It's kind of like, second fantasy companion. Guess what comes out first? Supers. What? So
Wow.
Just wanted to say
Why do you
that.
got to throw so much fucking shade on fantasy? I'm telling you.
I don't know. I really don't know because I mean it's just like I think it's because you play a lot of or you've played a lot of fantasy before. It's just, I'm just being a counterpoint. I'm just being contrarian anyway. I don't have
Wow.
anything wrong with fantasy, but also too, I almost want to say that Pathfinder for Savage Worlds kind of picks up the slack that the Fantasy Companion, that the lack of the Fantasy Companion has brought. So I they can wait on that.
So my only point of contention is why the fuck did it take 3 years for these books to come out? It drives me mental, man. I hate it, and I've complained about it so much, like a complete whiny baby. But it's cool that that's the first one coming out. We just got Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. I didn't sign up for any of that stuff because I don't want to mix my peanut butter and my chocolate together. And I think because that's sort of a fantasy companion in its own right, I guess, maybe, so to speak, they decided to come out with this one. Now Supers, I think Supers is Hensley's thing, from what I've heard, that the superhero stuff is his jam. He likes that stuff.
Yeah, I think he's a big Marvel and DC guy from what I gather too. So I think Supers is I think I want to say that they and this is just me speculating. Don't hold me to the fire here. Of course, I don't think anybody's going to come here for the for the verisimilitude or the true in-depth reporting like other blog other podcasts do. This is just shooting from the hip.
Simmer down with the big words, mister. I don't know who you think.
Hey, man.
What is verisimilitude?
The truth.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. No lying. That's what I guess that means.
What are you excited to see in this book? What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to put any? Is there going to be much difference from the old SPC?
Well, here's the thing too that's my understanding. If you go back and look at SPC, and you look at both of them, and talk about like the Superpowers Companion that was pretty much that came after Necessary Evil did. It sort of like was born from Necessary Evil, and then the Superpowers Companion too. It really had a lot of Wiggy's influence in there, and let's talk about Paul Wiggy Williams, writer from now with Triple Ace Games, but like in the Explorers edition and even some deluxe, man, he was the backbone of a lot of Savage World stuff. He was like the writer for a lot of that, and now he's gone off and he's got his own thing with Triple Ace Games, and some ill health has befallen him, but I think he's doing a little bit better now. But I don't know what Triple Ace Games what they're coming down with the pike with recently. But I'm saying this in the means that I think what they've done is they got Daryl Hayhurst to come in and he's pretty much done the bulk of the Superpowers Companion, and I think they're kind of like de-wigging in it. And I'm not saying that in a bad sense. If you look through the Superpowers Companion, it's sort of like rooted in this sort of, it's got like this Silver Age mentality, like the comic books from the 50s and 60s on up to about 1970, where you had names like Dr. Destruction and Bizarro Man and stuff like that. And you had, Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and the Flash and Green Lantern. They different versions of them all came out in the Silver Age. So I think they're trying to like kind of get past the Silver Age and go to like the new modern era of superheroes. Not so much like in the sense that everybody, that you don't have like ridiculous names like like Dr. Destructo Pants and and Magic, and Magic Maiden, like that, those corny ass names. I think you have some cooler names and they're more like code names, and I think they're just really kind of updating it to a more modern sensibility rather than like this holding on to the good, the Silver Age of comic books.
Check this action out there, mister. If you look at the Twitch deal, we've got this isn't the companion. This is the Superpowers Unleashed. Are you familiar with this deal?
Yeah, I am. That's a third-party product. That's your boy who did War of the Dead. Put that out. I can't pronounce his last name, and it's sad too because he's a talented guy. Spasnik or something like that. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Spasnik.
I guess there's a junior and there's a third one. I'm not sure, but look who's in there as a writing note. Do you see the first person?
Oh yeah, I gave him hell about it too. That's old. Yep, Tommy the Slammer Brownell,
Mm-hmm.
our good friend. Yeah, he says he just he was credited because he added something about how to do some super team elements, but that was about it. But still, no, like good for him though. But yeah, I've thumbed through that, and it's interesting, but also at the same time, kind of like uh, a little more overblown than it should be. That's like if you want to get kind of like really crunchy with the superpowers.
Gotcha. Interesting. Very cool.
No, it is cool.
The new crowdfunding site. So I'm assuming we've chatted about this before. Kickstarter's got a number of projects that you can create in a year. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5. I don't know because I don't create Kickstarters.
Yeah.
But Pinnacle, I guess, surpasses that, or this is going to be a way to get around it. They're going to create their own crowdfunding site. I think that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about that. I hope that puts an extra 20% in Shane's pocket because I definitely can tell you that as a consumer, you're not going to see it. Right? Any savings will be aptly passed on to his wallet, which is, it is what it is, right? The guy's, this is his job, his business. And I'm just hoping it works out well. I'd like to see them do a thing like this. A lot of people give Kickstarter shit for, like for Savage Worlds, for example. They're going to create it anyway. But, the beautiful part is the small companies like Pinnacle and Savage Worlds and stuff like that, they get this nice advantage of being able to tell how many books they need to create because they're basically pre-selling. And I think that's a fantastic idea. Hopefully this will pan out and it can make these little companies produce, essentially, right? They don't have to take any risk and create 10,000 copies of something they're selling 1,000 of and basically just make a bunch of ass wipe.
Right. Yeah, and let them litter the shelves. And they're selling like the first editions out on the shelves, and here's the thing: they're going to have to go back and revise all that stuff too. First printing, first printing is getting it out there, and it's great, man. But there's going to be other printings too where they have to fix things. So, and that way they can gauge, and with the Kickstarter, how much is going to be able to, how much product they're going to be able to produce, and also too, man, like what if they? I want to say that they're with the other stuff. I don't know. I don't think they've done any Indiegogo, or maybe they did. I don't know if I backed anything that they did on there, but I have backed the ETU, the study abroad little booster, and the Flash Gordon one. I did that, and they did that through Game on Tabletop, and I think that's actually a French company. So I think they, it's smart for them to go ahead and just do everything in house, and they're like, all right, man, we're just going to cut out these third-party companies, and whenever we want to release something, we'll just crowdfund it here on our site. I want to see how it holds up, though, man, because I do like their new site looks quite a bit better if you haven't checked it out. But man, you remember whenever they would there would be a new download or something, they would release it, and tell everybody to go to the Peg Inc. site and download it, man. A sucker would crash, or it'd be like, or just, you lose a database connection. You have to constantly refresh, though. But it's been updated, and actually, it's more secure. So I want to think that maybe they they'll have the bandwidth now to produce a decent crowdfunding platform.
Yeah, that site crashed fucking harder than a fat guy in a donut shop. You know what I mean? Sugar took him out. I really hope it works out too. I think that's going to be one of probably their biggest obstacles, is making sure that they can get the bandwidth so that people will be able to go there and get their stuff. You know what else is kind of cool too that I really like about Savage Worlds, and kudos to them. Usually when they release stuff through Kickstarter and shit like that, it auto goes to drive-through. I really like that. Like, my drive-through library is pretty extensive, and I really dig on it. Moving on, Modifius Entertainment, ICRPG. My buddy Runehammer, not my buddy, I shouldn't be calling him that. This guy that I patronize. Hankering for a Nail, Brandish Gilhelm. He's written some books. The guy's such a talent, man. He can draw like a freaking madman. But I was introduced to him by Victor, and Victor has something to do with Viking Death Squad. I think that is how Victor got in on the whole ICRPG chain, by playing in the original Viking Death Squad adventures through the ICRPG setting. I got to kick over to the main page, right monitor. We want the right, nope, see that one's all messed up too, PDF. We don't want the PDF, we don't want the main page. Let's do this one. I figured it out finally, Jay. Might have to edit this piece out so I look a little smarter. Modifius Entertainment and Runehammer are coming out with the Viking Death Squad Heavy Metal Tabletop RPG. The Index Card RPG Master Edition, and there's going to be an ICRPG Collector's Edition. Not sure what the difference is between the Master Edition and the Collector's Edition, but let me tell you about the Master Edition, my dude. ICRPG is not your jam. You never really played it, did you? Oh, you did play a couple of games.
I did play it, and actually, here's the thing too. As far as running the system goes, it's cool. I think I think it's the best D&D clone, that's out there. I think it is. I think out of all of them, I actually like this one because it boils everything down to essentials. I've read and really enjoyed the ICRPG books that I have, the second edition. His GMing manual, his GMing guide, he ought to write a separate book for it. He really just ought to write, Runehammer's, GMing guide, and because his GM tips are invaluable. There's two rulebook sources that I recommend for people who want a GM, and that's reading Dungeon World on tips to GM and reading, his ways to GM. He teaches you how to friggin', make encounters actually, and I'm not just talking about he'll tell you how to ambush an enemy, or this is what you want to do. Here's a good thing you do. Here's some support elements you can throw into your combats. It's all about making things exciting. It's all about, and he's teaching you to open up your mind a little bit as far as how to build your encounter. So his stuff is very invaluable for I think GM tips. So I'll probably pick this up just on the strength of that alone.
Balfrin's what does this mean for us folks who have the old version? I'm pretty sure that if you've bought the older edition of ICRPG through drive-thru, you're going to get the new one. You'll probably get the Master's Edition that's coming out. And then I think and don't quote me on this, don't burn me to the ground, but the Collector's Edition is going to be a hardcover book that you'll have to pre-order or something like that. But this is the sweet spot. He's changed quite a few rules between the first and second edition and I'm not sure if he's called it the third edition. I'd have to look it up, but there's another one where they changed the standard from D4, D6. They added in the 8s, and the 10 is now for magic, so that was a bit of a change. But all of the world's books are going to be put in there. He's putting in what do we got here? 400 pages of straight-to-table D&D or D20 based tools. Monsters, equipment, tidbits to hack any system or style. 5 complete sci-fi worlds. So he's got the Alfheim. That's going to be in there. He's got the sci-fi world of Warp Shell. His Weird West is called Ghost
Mountain, isn't it?
Ghost Mountain. Yeah, I was thinking Ghost Shell for some reason. But Ghost Mountain, and then he's got Snow and something or other, which is the Ice Age one, and then I've never played it. It's called Blood and Snow, come to think of it off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
That is like a caveman thing. You walk around and, sticks and clubs and take out saber-toothed tigers and stuff like that. But every time he comes out with one of these things, he's got a different way of just, it's not a hit points thing. It's like you take a look at superheroes, his... what is the superheroes one called?
Vigilante City.
Vigilante City. So you take a look at that, and he doesn't use hit points in that. What he does is most of the cartoons that you see, they just run out of fatigue. They get exhausted, and that is what takes them out of the battle.
Points.
Yeah, you use those points instead of the hit points, which is pretty cool. But you're getting all 5 of those worlds combined into this book. Some of his D100 loot tables are freaking sweet ass. He makes some good stuff. Now, occasionally, my beef with ICRPG is occasionally you'll find something that is an I win button. There's a piece of armor, for example. Every time you get missed, if somebody attacks you, it increases your AC by 1. It doesn't say that it caps out. So technically, you could have, if you get missed enough times, you're looking at over 100, and you could never get hit. It's kind of some things are just a little weird like this. My only beef with it. Like you were talking about, there's the GM section of this book. Now, here's the cool thing too. When you first start GMing and stuff like that, most of the time you put your minions in a room, and they're just a room in a box, and that's how you game. But he suggests doing things like pinch points or having your mobs on the other side of a crevasse or something like that. So you got to figure out how to get over there, kind of a thing. Every room has its own sneaky little trick to it, which is pretty cool. Viking Death Squad, here you go, Jay, is a world RPG system and play resource inspired by heavy metal super classic War Pigs by Black Sabbath. This TTRPG is an explosive game of immortal Vikings, cybernetic horrors, and demonic legions. Now, I'm pretty sure this is what I was telling you about that Victor Diaz was playing. He was part of the original Viking Death Squad. There's a D6 dice pile system unlike any other. So what is that, like a Shadowrun kind of a deal? No hit points.
Maybe.
Initiative is armor, and more hard and fast innovations. Every setting he comes out with has some kind of cool-ass, unique thing. I'm not sure why, and I'd really like to know why he went with Modifius. I mean, I realize they're, a well-known publisher and stuff like that, but he's doing so well by himself. Like, he's supporting himself through Patreon. He probably makes
a headache, man, to do all that stuff, man. And dealing with one bookshelf or whatever or something, man. Why not offload it?
Yeah,
you got the money. Go ahead.
When is Gartar setting? Gartar would get me banned from the RPG community. The answer would be never.
You can only play Gartar. You can only play Gartar in person in a secret bunker with 3 passwords,
right?
And full security. You can't. Yeah, the Gartar. And also, too, like, after you play Gartar, you're systematically assassinated because you can't reveal anything about it.
Yeah, you have to go to a detox after you play it.
Right.
I actually, Boffin, I actually have another full, ready-to-go Gartar adventure that involves a little town called Bastardo that's under attack. I'm not sure if you played the first adventure with me. I think you did, but it was so long ago I forgot who played in it. But in that adventure, we had to go rescue, or there was some crystal meth and stuff like that. We needed the crystal meth to drive the starship, right? So we land on this planet. There's a bunch of half-naked women, and we had to go to this like little ruins where this long octopus kind of creature was guarding a bunch of crystal meth and had taken all the men's and stuff like that. You're the flying monkey plumber. That's right. Anyways, the next adventure takes place after this one, where in fact now that you've killed the creature and released all of the crystal dimethium or whatever the hell we called it, a bunch of crackheads have moved in. So, the second adventure is about you go into this little place. You hear about something in the distance that has ruined towns. You go back to the town, the first town, and it's destroyed, and you got to find some little information, take out some crackheads, and then you end up back in Bastardo doing some other stuff. But I'm not gonna. I'll throw that out there. One day we'll be in touch and we'll play a little Gartar round 2. Long story short.
You might have to do that in a cabin con, like locked under, under complete security where nobody else can come in and nobody else can view, and all cell phones have to be removed from the room.
Yeah, I mean,
because that is
honestly
that is some heavy shit.
Who am I kidding? We don't have the best friggin' reputation on the planet anyway, right?
Who are we kidding? Man, can you do me a favor? I want to revisit something. There's a whole little banner that they put out for the Superpowers Companion. Would you mind being able to post that up in the Handy Dandy Twitch channel? Because
where am I going to find it?
Just if you go to peginc.com,
all right.
It's right there on the front page. You should be able to see it. Just click on where it says the Superpowers.
Stand by for here we go. Stand by for action with the new Superpowers Companion for Suede.
And if you click on the little banner below it, it goes to full screen, and it's
this one here. There you go. Tuesday, August 31st.
Click on that guy. There you go. Yeah, beautiful. You got it. You're the smartest dude I know.
Thanks, pal. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like all new original art, complete, new and updated powers, completely compatible with Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. New narrative rules for bases with encounters. So that's going to be kind of like one of the most fun that you'll ever have playing in the Savage Worlds game is if you ever play Rippers and you get to make a lodge. man, it is so much fun. And this would be pretty cool. I think it's got these rules now where you can make these, make your villain base or make your secret headquarter, base or something like that. Like your Avengers Tower or some, or the Justice League, Watchtower and some stuff like that. So, you want to make your your superpowers base. You got this right here. And one of the best things about the Superpowers Companion, the deluxe one, was the Rogues Gallery that was in it. And so now it looks like we're getting a whole bunch of bad guys. It looks like these guys are being updated and reimagined for like more modern superhero adventures, more so like, and that's what I was talking about earlier than the more like the Silver Age stuff, where where everybody was like a bank robber. Like now, super villains should be terrorists, in my opinion. So I think we're going to see some more of that stuff. We're getting some new gear. We're getting like items of power, so stuff to increase that superpower, sweetness, and setting rules to replicate the different styles. Like, you can go play like your John Steve style, which is that's the classic Silver Age, Captain America, that sort of thing. Truth and Justice, and all that stuff, and fighting bank robbers and all that other shit. Or modern day mayhem when you're playing some shit like The Boys or Invincible or Suicide Squad. And that's actually my jam right there. The Silver Age is fine for old people. I'm more of a not modern age guy.
Yeah, the new Suicide Squad was really good.
Oh, that all this does, especially this with this coinciding. I think they wanted to coincide it with Suicide Squad. To be honest with you, just because because Necessary Evil is a lot like or Suicide Squad and Necessary Evil are very similar in that respect, and they're both fun as hell. The concepts, and that's how I like running superhero games anyway, or superpowers games is where people play as like villains that are trying to redeem themselves.
Yeah,
I think that's more fun.
The Necessary Evil stuff by Savage Worlds is top notch. One of the cool things too that I like about the Superheroes Companion is how you actually make your superhero and stuff like that. You could have your eyeballs at level 1 that will be X-ray, or for extra points you can have them shoot laser beams, or for even more points they can do other things like freeze or do whatever, right? Like depending on where you want to put your points. And I think that's kind of cool. I think the point buy deal on the last one, so I hope they keep that up. I really enjoyed that. Making my guy was he was a dude that could replicate himself, so he could make clones of himself, and I thought that was freaking sweet. That was a lot of fun.
That is pretty cool. That's a good little power that they have, the whole replicate power. I like that.
Yeah, that was top fucking notch.
I like it too because what they ended up doing is like your guy was just an extra, but if you had more points in him, your guy could be a wild card as well. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Instead of just having him pop out and be a mook, he could actually do wild card damage. If you put more points into him, he'd be a wild card, so he'd get his extra D6 and shit. All right, well, that's 30 some odd minutes of us just yammering about shit that we think is cool that's coming out. Now let's get to some stuff that I hate. This came up today in Twitter, and as I was scrolling through my feed, some guys just posted randomly. I think it was liked by somebody that I follow, and it was in the question was how important are the ENNIES to you? And actually, I know who did it. It's the other Murder Hobo Incorporated on Twitter. On Twitch, those guys that do their show and stuff like that. It was those because I follow them. And he posted nope. That was just one word. And I posted this. Or, what I mean? Something like that. I don't look at the ENNIES. I don't pay attention to them. I don't find any value in them. I never have. A lot of the reason is because I'm pretty sure that the community throws in what they're interested in, if that makes sense. So like if you wanted to look up let's hit it. Let's go right to it. The 2021 election. So you got the 2022 judge, you've got best adventure, best aid, accessory, digital, non-digital, cover art, interior art, cartography. We got a lot of best online content, organized play, best podcast, best RPG related product rules. Like, okay, we got, end product of the year. So we're going to smash some of these, Jay, and we're going to maybe make a vote and see. Now, I don't know who the judges are this year, so we're going to click on the judges. And I don't know any of these people. Salim Hakima, Jonathan Campbell, D. Clayton the Stone. So you can click on these people and it'll take you to a little clip of who they are. We're not going to, I don't know any of them or whatever, but let's hit Best Adventure. You are voting for Best Adventure, Jay. The first one that comes up is Alien RPG Destroyer of Worlds, followed by Epic Encounters, Hall of the Orc King, Eyes Unclouded, OSE, I know where Pete's vote's going, Halls of the Blood King, or The Walking of Willoughby Hall. Interestingly enough, my friend, you can click on the Alien RPG and it will take you to a little thing and have you take a peek at it. But really all it does is it takes you to a little site for Free League that shows you what the Alien RPG is all about. I find this that it got voted for, what is it up for Best Adventure. Alien RPG Destroyer of Worlds. Now, do you remember when this first came out and we talked a little bit about this? And I've never played it, so this is just me shit talking and probably talking out my ass like I do most of the time. But I find that the Alien RPG has no legs. It's like you're going to play this game and the whole premise is, what are we doing today, boys? Well, we're going to go kill aliens again. What's the next adventure? Kill more aliens over here. What are we doing now? We're killing aliens on the spaceship. Like, there's more to it than that. I know, but I just find it funny that Alien RPG Destroyer of Worlds made it into the Best Adventure. Like, I don't know anybody that's playing it. Check out the Epic Encounters of the Orc King. This is some kind of board game for $50. Sorry, out of stock. Like, this doesn't even look like an adventure to me, Jay. This looks like
those are actually it's actually kind of cool. Those are like, it's called Epic Encounters. It's essentially you're buying a D&D encounter in a box, so it comes with a map and minis and all the other stuff. So yeah, it looks like a board game in the surface, but that's essentially a D&D encounter.
Wow. Okay, so that makes it
For
much
5e.
cooler.
So it's essentially the whole adventure in a box with all this other stuff. And man, like, yeah, my cat just knocked over a bunch of minis and stuff. I'm making sure he doesn't like.
Yeah, you don't want him to choke on those. Eyes Unclouded. This is an anthology of adventures for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, inspired by classic Japanese animation. Entreat with the Cat King of the Feywild. Now, what are you looking at? $20 for the PDF? Are you fucking kidding me? How many pages is in this thing? 180. All right. I take that back. That's actually pretty big. All right. 180 pages. Never heard of it. OSE. This is where Pete's vote's going. Now, this actually looks pretty cool. Old School Essentials, Halls of the Blood King. This looks like it's right up my alley here, man. During the Blood Moon, the halls of an extra-dimensional vampire phase into the material world. Local people are dragged to the accursed halls, snatched up for the bloody pleasure of the vampiric Blood King. A horror-themed adventure for Old School Essentials. See, this is right up my alley. This is where I'm getting my vote. And this is the reason I think the Ennies are fucking hot garbage, because I don't know anything about this. I'm looking at the artwork and I'm looking and reading the story, and I'm the guy that's, and I can vote. I can vote on this. It could be the shittiest adventure out of all of them, and I'm the guy frickin' picking it because it's just the thing that appeals to me the most. The Walking of Willoughby Hall. I have no idea what this is. This is just some kind of weird-looking adventure that takes place is a dense, highly interactive RPG adventure set in a ruined manor beset by a rampaging giant, roving bands of restless dead, and a very angry goose. What do you think of that, Jay? Do you like angry geese?
Yes, man. No, I hate geese, man. I just want to punch them.
I gotta say, if you were to describe the angry geese or the angry goose as a sex move, what would it be?
That is when you accidentally slip it where it doesn't belong, and the partner starts going and gets mad.
Oh my!
It's like that.
That was a good one. I didn't think you'd get it, but you nailed it. You nailed it. That was fantastic.
Oh, I'm good at a few things.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was thinking it had something to do with like Benoit balls because they're like goose eggs kind of a deal, but you took it to that one there. Let's check out Best Aid Accessory Digital.
Now, really quickly before we go in a little further, the reasons why I've never given a shit about the Ennies too, because look what it's all based around. Look, I mean, every once in a while you'll get like, okay, Dungeon World will get nominated, will win like best rule system or whatever because it's different. But it's all D&D, man. It really is. It's all just based around D&D. It's based around 5e, and in different ways you can spin it. It's either based around 5e and maybe a couple of Powered by the Apocalypse games. Everything else, they don't give a crap about.
Yeah, and it seems to be okay. So this is a dungeon generator for Morkport called Dungeon Gen. Kind of looks cool. I guess you just press some buttons and away you go. Copy this, print that. So you can find these things, these generators, all over the place just to do weird, random stuff. Kind of neat. Finely crafted box of tools, something or other. Go. Okay, I don't know. A domesticated animal. The look this goat gives you is inexplicably forbidding. Wait a second. Goat. For a domesticated animal, the look this goat gives you is inexplicably forbidding. Perhaps because you've interrupted its meal, and you've made his little tail flutter as it perks up in the air. Its jaws motion slows as it locks eyes with you. It's lowering its head. And that sounds like sexy time right there. I don't know. This is, I guess, a way to type in a thing, and let's have it look up Uncle Jay. Let's see what happens when we put that in. Maybe it'll tell me how to describe Uncle Jay. Oh, wait a second. What are we doing here? I don't know. It just went off on some fucking weird thing. Okay, so it's a way to help you describe some stuff.
Right.
Essential established generator. These are just like shitty little internet, whatchamacallit, here, there, be tap, and then some music and stuff like that. It's not very interesting. Best cover art. Cortex Prime. Dude, this looks freaking sweet. Cortex Prime. Now, the artwork, I don't find this artwork that fantastic. I don't really see anything too overly appealing about it. I don't know if that's the front cover of the book or not, but that artwork that it shows does not impress me at all. It's not bad, but it's not something that I think would be like super cool. And what are you thinking? Learn more about the Cortex Prime. Let's see if there's is there a front cover we can take a look at? Multi-genre, blah, 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 blah. Cortex, I've read a bit of this Cortex Prime, man, and it gets a little bit, I don't know, rulesy, crunchy kind of a thing. Not really my deal. Heart, the City Beneath. Let's take a peek at this and see what this looks like. All right, again, kind of cool. Nothing really fancy going on here for cool front cover art. I think some of the Savage World stuff is much cooler looking than that. Neverland, a fantasy RPG. Are you fucking kidding me? It's a green with Neverland written on it and a picture of a mountain. I feel I could make that. How is that best cover? Do you know what I'm saying? What the hell? The Spy Game. All right, so the Spy Game's actually looking pretty good, Jay. We got a nice cover, cool looking Spy Game graphics. They have that whatever that Tom Cruise movie kind of feel is to it. You got some guys shooting, hanging from cables outside of a building, some espionage, cool new gadgets, helicopters, bullets flying. That's not a bad piece of art. And lastly, I think this one will win because Vaesen is popular. Vaesen. But again, I don't find any of this artwork compelling or interesting by any means. I have heard a lot of people say good things about Vaesen, Nordic.
It's one I would definitely pick up, though. I see it in the game stores around here, especially ones across the river in Portland. I've seen it there a couple times, and I keep on meaning to snatch it up, but I just never do. I end up grabbing something else though. But it's one I would definitely look at.
We're going to the best podcast, Jay. Are we in here? No.
Sure.
Why?
No,
because Asians represent is in the list. Now, you can click on it.
Out by them again. No, I don't know who these guys are.
Those suckers beat us again. Let's go home.
No, but like, hey man, I'm gonna have to. Well, hell, I want to listen to them then, man. If they're if these are if they're talking
About
about like wuxia, yeah, like they're actually talking about
okay, hang
like
tight.
wuxia games
Let
and
me
everything
tell.
like that. There's so I might have to check them out.
Let me tell you what it's about. Asians Represent is a Gold Emmy award-winning podcast that celebrates and examines Asian representation in tabletop games and pop culture. We do this by creating conversation, introducing new perspectives to the broader gaming community, and creating spaces for new voices in the industry. Asian Represent members speak with compassion. From personal experiences, we strive to be inclusive, compassionate, caring, introspective, respectful, empowered, conversational, and educational. And then it just goes on to talk about the people that are in it. Now, I don't want to shit talk this podcast because I've never heard about it, but what the fuck does that have to do with me or any white guy that plays? Like, that is very inclusive. And why would I listen to it? It's probably a fantastic podcast. I'm just saying it would not interest me at all because it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, here's the thing too, and also they would probably want to have a conversation with every Asian character that you've played.
Yeah, really, I don't know, but I find that weird. So
Yeah.
that's the best podcast. It's
What?
I don't know. Here's my next one. Party of one, Jay.
Party of one.
Yeah, party of one, where the gaming table is always built for two. What? Party of One is an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing experiences. Every week, host Jeff Stormer sits down with friends for a two-player game, have some laughs, maybe a few tears, a really good time. I would listen to this. It's funny that it's called Party of One, but I think it's one because of the critical fail. Maybe that's why it's in there. But right?
Well, also it's just one guy. It's pretty much he is a party of one. It's it's a 2-player RPG, but only one guy's playing it and the other guy's GMing it. So there you go. It is one party one. Now let me ask you this. This brings up a good question, Gary. Would you play in a 2-person RPG?
No, not interested. I need other people to feed off of, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes total sense. It makes 100%, sense.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have never heard of any of these podcasts, and I'm sure they've never heard of mine and probably never will. But I just what the hell, man? Asians Represent is getting cast for best podcast. I got to listen to this just to see, because that seems very oddly inclusive, which is kind of really weird. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think you would have to be Asian to be interested in that, if that makes sense.
Well, that's being closed-minded, man. Maybe people want to get an insight on some on the Asian experience. Like for me, for instance, I think it'd be fascinating just to get some insights on on how Asians are being, or like, just curious. I'm curious to see all kinds of people like playing RPGs, because like here's the thing, dude. We grew up where playing was all people looked like us, man. So that's why I'm very fascinated with seeing other people taking interest in everything like that too, and like not wanting to hold anybody back from playing the damn game. We need more people playing these crazy games.
I'm gonna have
fewer people.
I'm gonna have to ask my Japanese student and my Korean student if they've heard of that.
Should.
Right?
You should ask them. Like, hey, ask them. You should ask them if they've ever heard of it, like what you're doing, like one of your hobbies is.
I know Lion, my Korean student. He's played. He goes out and plays RPGs when he's here. He's in Korea right now. Of the rest of these topics, before I start bitching more about them, is there any that you want to see? Best game, best writing, product of the year. Should we hit product of the year?
Yeah, product of the year. Let's look at that. Or yeah, product of the year. That looks good.
All right, so you are voting for product of the year. Adventurer's Tarot, the Empress deck. Let's have a look at this. Pre-order only. Adventurer's Tarot Empress deck, secret, $50 for a deck of cards, tarot cards. What are you going to do with these things, Jay? Please note that the deck is currently sold out. So this option is only for pre-order. The Adventurer's Tarot is an oracle deck based on the fantasy world of Dungeons & Dragons, but can be used with many other systems. Contains 103 beautifully illustrated cards. 100. So that's like, what, 50 cents a card? Yeah, all right. Stamped with gold foil. And what do you do with them? You throw them down on the table and have them tell a story for $50. What do you think of that?
Yep.
Yep. Alice is Missing.
Yep.
I've heard of this. This actually, somebody has played this.
And, I've heard of it too. I think I think what it is, I've heard of this where it's actually one of those where you don't really, it doesn't have a GM, and you play it via your phone.
Oh, really? So it says Alice is
Yep.
Missing is a silent role-playing game about the disappearance of Alice Briarwood, a high school junior in the sleepy northern California town of Silent Falls. During the game, players use their phones to send text messages to each other to unearth clues about what happened to Alice. Now, somebody has played this, and they have said good things about it. So that's actually that's kind of interesting. Ancestry and Culture has been rated as one of the best products, and I find, and I don't mean to be an asshole, that this would be probably the most useless thing that I have ever come across. Ancestry and Culture, an alternative to race in 5e. This is put together by a guy named Eugene Marshall. He's written some stuff for Savage Worlds.
Yep.
He's done some
I know
Savage...
Eugene, man. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's like some kind of philosophy professor or
Yeah.
something or other. Probably a great guy.
Yeah, smart
I
guy.
never met him, and I don't know him, but Ancestry and Culture, so it's an alternative to race in 5e. I don't know or understand what the point of, because I'm dummy.
Well,
The point
I'll
of...
tell you, I'll tell you, it just takes away the baked in friggin' racial hindrances and everything like that. Well, you know how they said the orcs are always stupid, and or people, or even further on where it say the races with the black skin were naturally athletic and everything like that. Just these based in friggin' racial stereotypes. It's just like giving you a different way to spin all that stuff. Like, instead of doing that, like, okay, this is where you're from and this is your culture. This is what your culture believes in, and this is this is how your family grew up, your ancestry, instead of like an overall broad sense, like, okay, just because you're this race, this is exactly what's going to happen to you. Where it has this race, you can choose these certain things. You can choose like your ancestry. You choose to like grab grab these cultural items and these things that you inherit from your family, not necessarily from your race. If that makes sense.
It does, and that's why you're here, to make things make sense to me.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what I'm here for, man. And I enjoy doing it, and it's a total pleasure.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. Still not a thing I would use, because I don't like it when people step out. Do you like what's the word I'm looking for? These little like side things that you get, like community content, created community stuff. Do you like that?
It depends on I would cherry pick a lot of this stuff to see if it was useful, because a lot of times I think like just community created products. I mean, there's some good stuff, but I think a lot of it really is just a lot of people just whacking off or smelling their own farts. I think that's what it is. In a lot of sense, I mean, just people just getting sucking their own dick because they created something that isn't really useful, or not.
And
just because you made something doesn't mean it's awesome. Doesn't mean it's useful.
Yeah,
there's a shit ton of swag products that are about as useless as a doo-doo flavored lollipop too.
Right. No, it's exactly right, and that's why I don't use them. I like to stick with the core stuff that's in the book, and stick to that. I never had
or a reliable third party.
No, I'm not
a reliable third party. I will.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Arium is a complete tabletop role-playing game. So what is this? This is like a setting and a system, sort of all built into one. Arium.
Yeah, maybe that's what it looks like.
All right, I can't really say anything about it because I don't know. Brand Colonia Spaghetti Fantasy Setting Book. What do we got here? Italian Tradition, Folklore, History, Landscapes. Okay, so this is, as far as I'm concerned, would be very limiting because I don't really know much about Italian stuff. I do have Italian friends. Is that racist? I got an Italian friend. I'm not racist. I have an Italian friend.
See, it'd be more racist if you would be like, yeah, I got an Italian friend, so now I can say all these racial, Italian jokes against. So, no, using that as an advantage. So, no, that wasn't racist. Saying that you have Italian friends. Now, saying that they're Italian might be a little racist, but that's neither here nor there. You might say that over there in Canada. I don't know what you do.
I could not get through the Cortex Prime book, but it is in here under, what are we looking at again? Product of the Year. So, welcome to the world of Cortex. What is Cortex Prime? Imagine a world-building tabletop RPG system where you and your players choose a genre. I think what Cortex Prime is, and from what I've read, is essentially here's a list, or here's a bunch of different ways to do things. Here's a bunch of different ways to do armor class. Here's a bunch of different ways to roll the dice. Here's a bunch of different ways to do this. And then you take all of those pieces and you choose the ones that you like and you use them to make the game that you want to play.
Yep.
And I think that's what Cortex Prime is.
Very modular. That's my understanding of it too. Like, you take these little elements or whatever stuff that you want to do. I'd check it out, but like, there's some things that I already like, you know, like I really like Savage Worlds. I really like Age as far as like these different systems. So, and I kind of want, like in the back of my head, I keep on thinking I want to check out Fate. You know, there was that bundle of holding that was out not too long ago where you just get all of that Fate stuff. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I have this old Marvel, the old Margaret Weis, like Marvel Hero role playing, which is essentially based on the old Cortex system. And I could kind of get my head around it, but it's a big dice pool system, you know, where you get to roll a bunch of like D6s or a bunch of D8s, you know, depending on like your stats or something like that. So yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah. I'm going to keep delving into it, I guess, piece by piece, but I find that's my biggest anchor that keeps me from going into new systems is they never seem to be better than Savage Worlds, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I should say, in my opinion. I'm sure that they are, or some of them are. Heart, the City, where are we at? Sentinels, Comics, the role-playing game core book. What do we got going on here? This is just another how to play role-play or superheroes in a different way. $60, man. Wow. That is friggin' stiff. The Stygian Library. I don't even, what is this? Procedurally generated library dungeon set in the extra dimensional space between every library in the universe. Totally not interested. £25. Don't know what it is. What is Slayers? Ooh, this looks cool. Nominated for 3 Ennies. Considered voting for the best rules, best game, and product of the year. Now we're talking. Interesting stuff. Doesn't look like there's much to it. Kind of a simple looking thing. And there's a link to a YouTube deal where you can go figure out how to play it. $15. I like the price. Anyways, fuck the Ennies. That's all I have to say. I find them absolutely, completely useless, and they don't do anything for me. How do you feel about them, Jay?
It's all like, if I cared enough about D&D, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But you know,
I like
and I don't, so I guess I don't really focus on them. That'd be different, like if one of our buddies that we knew that was like a designer like got nominated, then I'd be like, oh yeah, then I'd try to vote for him, or you know, try to get in that some way possible. But other than that,
all right,
get off my sack, dude.
Screw this place. Let's get out of here, man. It's 7:58. Where's my outro bedliner?
Let's do it.
Oh, what is going on here? Enter. Oh, I made it louder. I made it louder when I wanted to make it quieter. We didn't get time to get to community questions, so fuck that shit. Who cares? That's it for this edition of the Murder Hobo RPG show. We hope you enjoyed it. Listening to me complain about the stupid ass Ennies for the last 30 minutes probably fucking bored you to tears, but whatever. Suck it, man. You get this podcast for free. Count salt, right, Jay?
Yep, indeed. And in fact, if you're interested in submitting to community questions so you can hear us poke fun at you and otherwise not answer your questions honestly, you can do so at murderhoboshow@gmail.com. Otherwise, send your email to the motherfucking Ennies, bitch.
Oh, you nailed that one. You can also get us on Twitter at The Murder Hobo Show, or on YouTube at The Murder Hobo Show, where I show you how to make 3-dimensional battle maps for role-playing and tabletop simulator, among other stuff. You can watch me do this live. I've never done it live. I say this all the time, but I've never actually done it because most of the shit that I make is for games that I'm about to play, and I don't want to broadcast it. And it doesn't make sense to go back and, you know what I mean? I do have a lot of stuff coming out. I think I have 8, 9, maybe 10 different scenes, 10 different maps that'll be coming out. I'll be posting to the One World Games table with images. But yeah, I got to find something else to do on Twitch. I guess maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Jay.
I don't know what to tell you either, man, but you'll figure it out. You're a smart enough guy.
Thanks, pal.
Yep. And so you can find the things we discussed in the show notes, organized by most recent at the top, over at murderhoboshow.podbean.com.
And that's it. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next time where we're going to bore you to tears as we whine and cry like little bitches about things that don't affect us in real life at all. We're going to have another action-packed show where we are going to talk about things we know little to nothing about, like we did tonight. Sound professional doing it. I know I sounded professional. Actually, the first little monologue there, Jay, you sounded real professional. I don't know what happened. I think you were really baked.
No, that's exactly what happened. I was really baked and wasn't in my head. And usually when I get out of my head, I can usually rattle off some stuff that I see and don't have to think about it. So there you go.
You're on point tonight.
Podcast where we do all that stuff. I know it's a good podcast because I'm not in my head right now because I'm high as shit. And when I'm not, when I'm baked,
yeah,
I can rattle off some stuff.
This is why I have you here to sort of slap me out of my ignorance every once in a while, and you're good at it.
I try to hug you out of your ignorance. That's what I try to do. I try to hug you and maybe do a little rear end tickle. Oopsie. Probably can talk about that.
Explains the permanent boner that I have whenever we do this show.
There you go.
Where are we at here? Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next time. We're going to have another action-packed show. We're talking about things we know little to nothing about. Sound professional doing it. Have a great gaming week. We're out of here. Say goodbye, Uncle Jay.
Adios, everybody.